The part where I got mad, where I got pissed off, was at the end. I'm sitting in the recliner chair, right? The chair's reclined, I'm relaxed, and she takes on the mantle of Rey Skywalker. So I'm sitting there, right? I said it out loud, too. When the old lady asked her, what's your name? She says, Rey. Rey what? I said, don't you say it. Don't you fucking say it. Skywalker. I put my seat up. I put my shoes on right before the sword. By the time I got downstairs, the credits were starting to roll. And I said, she's not a Skywalker. She's a Palpatine. No. And my daughter said, oh my God, Daddy. I kept saying, I said, she's not a Skywalker, man. No.
Yeah, why couldn't she just be Palpatine? Like, yeah, my peoples was evil, but this is who I am now. You know, I'm Palpatine. Yeah. I'm calling the world to know. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. I honestly, I'll tell you what, the last 5 minutes of this movie made me incredibly emotional, and maybe because there were so many pieces connected there for me, from like even supplemental material that's not even necessary to watch this movie. But watching this for me, that was the one thing. I'll just jump right into it. The one thing that I still struggle with watching this movie, and I gotta see it, I'm gonna see it over and over and over and over again to really solidify my thoughts, is her being Palpatine's granddaughter. That for me, dude, honestly, just at this point, listen, it's it's all right. At this point, do the fan servicey thing. Tell us that Mara Jade from Legends existed at one point, who was Luke's wife in the old books and comics. Tell us she died at some point and she gave birth to Rey and she died protecting her or some shit, like whatever. And like, or just tell us that, and she was, or honestly, leading up to the movie, for the longest time, I was, you know, Star Wars has always been built on parallels. You have things that are similar in some movies to other, you know, things, little scenes that replicate certain scenes. We've already kind of had the "I am your father" version of this scene of this trilogy, when we find out that from Snoke that Han Solo is Ben's father. You know what I mean? Or you're like, oh shit. When you watch The Force Awakens, you're like, oh damn, like that's a oh damn kind of moment. And for me, it was like, I kind of was thinking that maybe Rey was Kylo's like sister, like they maybe would have been like twins and they got separated, just like Luke and Leia. You know, like I never felt a romantic element throughout their franchise, the entirety of the trilogy. People wanted that whole Reylo thing. I think that they just kind of get caved into the Reylo fans. That kiss didn't need to happen. I don't hate it. I don't think it was amazing. I think they could. I think if they just embraced, you know what I mean, maybe like a forehead to forehead kind of thing, and he faded away, something like that. You know what I mean? I got the connection. I liked the tension and the relationship they had, but there was the romantic element there for me. Like literally the last two movies, she was calling him a monster, calling him like a psychopath, and now she's like, bro, I want your babies. Like I don't know, like
something about that. Kiss me in the mouth. It really, like Empire, you know, when they kiss, like they really brother and sister, like, oh, well, that's all right. It's kind of cute. But this, it feel like, ugh. Feel like you're kissing, you know, my mama or something. I feel weird.
I want to know when the hell was Palpatine knocking boots, man?
Yeah.
I thought the Sith and the Jedi didn't get down like that.
Yeah, I need that extra footage, you know what I'm saying, behind the scenes footage. Yeah. He just be like hitting it from the back, like, unlimited power!
Well, that's easily my number one thing.
Power!
That's easily the most like frustrating part of the whole thing for me, was just like really thinking about it. I'm like, man, with all the knowledge I got of Star Wars, the books and comics and things that interconnect with shit, like being able to see Maul and see this and that and all these other movies, it's like, I know this, I know that, I know that. Like, that's for me. That was the one thing for me that I was like, what? Like, okay, so we're thinking, you got to really think about it. Like, Rey is like early 20s in this trilogy. Okay, this trilogy has taken place within a span of like 2.5, 3 years at most. Then, you know, you think, okay, Rey's like 20 something, so she was left on Jakku at like what, like the age of like 8 or whatever, and her parents like left her, or whatever. Like obviously that wasn't the case, but before her parents were like, you know, parents were protecting her. So number one, first of all, you mean to tell me that Vader had 2 kids with a non-Force sensitive lady that both went on to become Force sensitive, powerful Jedi, or people that at least were connected to the Force in a strong way? You mean to tell me that the dude that in this movie shoots lightning to the sky and takes out multiple ships has a kid, and his actual child has no Force sensitivity, that it's his grandchild that he's after? Like, that's the one thing for me that I'm still struggling to swallow, because even as the Star Wars fan that I am, like I said it in my review, that there was just some things that I was struggling to swallow, and it's the idea that Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter, because I'm just like, I feel that's the one thing. Bring Palpatine back, sure. It's fantasy, it's wizards in space with laser swords and talking robots. I'll buy into that shit. But Palpatine being her grandfather is just like you said, when was he knocking boots? When was he getting it on? So that we're talking this being about the father in that scene, that when they showed the flashback, looked like he was like in his like late 20s, early 30s. So we're talking about Palpatine knocking boots somewhere around the end of the Clone Wars, around Revenge of the Sith, after Revenge of the Sith. So you mean to tell me that? Well, I mean, I guess you can say Palpatine being the Emperor, you got to imagine that he got all the ladies he wanted, by forcibly. But I'm just thinking, like, when was he doing this? Who was he doing this with? And his actual child themselves was not force sensitive at all. Like, that just doesn't seem right to me.